All right, creatures of the night, welcome to episode 66 of Talking Taker, our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. My name is Alex Dorio, and I am one of your co-hosts, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature of the night, Mr. Travis White. And Travis, here we go, covering Unforgiven 2000 here on episode 66, and I am sure that you can relate to this matchup personally, considering that you've been competing in a four-way matchup every night lately. Now you've got a third little creature running around your house, so how are you surviving, my man?
Dude, it is like, you're right, it's a fatal four-way around here, man. Me versus three kids trying to get to bed, so... in fact, right now, this is not a visual podcast, but I'm sitting in the dark. You can't even see me, and I am in the living room with my baby. Yeah, so if you guys might hear her squeaking or chit-chatting in the background, I apologize, but she might do a run-in later on, so we'll see. But everywhere else in the house is asleep, so yeah, thank you guys for being patient with us during all that. So we're trying to get these to you guys and get them out on time, and no matter what, so we'll see how that goes.
Dude, if she does a run-in, I will spit my coffee up on this computer screen right now. That would be a miracle.
I might hang up if she starts running. Call Ripley, believe it or not.
You got a mutant on your hands.
Exactly. Little Jack.
No offense. Yeah, we'll say that's a nicer thing to say. She's an incredible. Yeah, not a mutant.
Oh, she is. She is, so... Anyway, yeah, man, fatal four-ways every night around here and getting my practice in, so...
More of a handicap match, though, I guess.
Pretty much 3-on-1, yeah. Or 3-on-2, me and my wife, so... Sometimes she's asleep, but I'm just kidding, so... Yeah, handicap match, fatal four-way, whatever, so...
Well, I'm glad you could make it here tonight, and we could squeeze this one in here, in between your naps and fits of sleep and whatever you got going on over there, but... We are trying to get this out to you, folks. Unforgiven 2000. We are talking about The Undertaker in a fatal four-way match for the WWF title here against the champion, The Rock, along with Benoit and Kane here. So we've covered some really fun fatal four-ways on this show so far. I've enjoyed the ones we've covered, and I'll be interested to see what we think of this one.
Yeah, same here. Well, as we talk about the show later, I remember this match, remember the show, but yeah. This is a fun one to cover. Some fun stuff going on in this build here. So, and it's been so fun to revisit this version of Taker. Like you said, you and I initially were like, this is not our favorite iteration of the Dead Man, but it's kind of growing on me, man. We're seeing some of this stuff. So, it's funny. It was such a sharp contrast from when we were kids and seeing him go to this, but now that we've basically been honing in on just his story, doing these 66 episodes, it's fun. It is kind of fun to see him be a little different and loosen up and lighten up and have some jokes and stuff. So this has been kind of fun for us to go back and do this. I'm digging it right now.
I am too. Yeah, all of our listeners out there, a lot of them before we started this said they couldn't wait till they get to this era, and it's so fun.
We didn't know why.
No, it's been great. Like you said, cutting loose. So let's keep it going here. Hop on that time traveling motorcycle, jump in the sidecar, and head back to August of 2000 as we pick up on August 28th, the night after SummerSlam 2000, and that match between Undertaker and Kane. The phantom bell ringing before the match. We heard it. JR didn't hear it. We're going to call it a no contest or whatever. But Undertaker got the moral victory by stealing Kane's mask and holding it high over his head there at the end of their contest at SummerSlam. So this is Raw episode 379 on the WWE Network, starting the build up to Unforgiven. And Mick Foley, the commissioner, is going to make a matchup between Kane, the loser of that fight, whether it was a match or not, against The Rock for the World Championship tonight, because Foley wants to celebrate the 1 year to the day anniversary, he says, of the creation of the Rock and Sock Connection, which we covered on this podcast, since we learned that the Rock and Sock Connection was formed due to who else but the inventor of everything, The Undertaker.
Nikola Tesla of the WWE, or WWF. But you know how Tesla gets like overlooked and Edison gets all the credit for everything. I kind of think that's what Undertaker is, man. It's popped in my mind, so I think that's the case. So Undertaker invented everything. So
Now I'm just envisioning David Bowie playing The Undertaker
yes,
in a movie,
yes.
and it's kind of the only thing I ever want for the rest of my life. And it makes me very
Yeah.
sad that that's never going to happen.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, and if you don't understand that reference, go watch The Prestige.
Come on
So.
now. Yeah, seriously. There's no real explanation given for Kane getting this title shot. Like I
Yeah, what
said,
did he do?
he literally lost a fight to The Undertaker last night, but he's getting a title shot. But anyway, that is the main event of the night, and these two have a pretty hot little competitive match in the main event. It's fun. And there's some really, really close near falls. Again, this was back in the day where, it was. We've seen a few title changes on Raw and on SmackDown these past few years, so it was believable that you could see a title change during this time. And I mean, I say that back then, and just saw one on SmackDown. Spoiler alert for this past Tuesday night. So I'm sure it's not spoiler anymore by the time this is out, but literally just happened as we're recording this. So
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, these two eventually fight into the crowd when all of a sudden the Undertaker rides into the arena, and he's actually got Kane's mask from last night in his hand still as he drives down to the ring, which is a nice little continuity touch there. Kane is obviously not happy to see his brother, so he ditches The Rock in the ring, goes to trade some blows with The Undertaker, and I guess this is a no DQ match. I don't know. Undertaker hops in the ring, gives Kane a choke slam, and then hops back on his bike, puts his sunglasses back on, and just sits back down on the bike and watches the rest of the match. Rock crawls into the ring after this, but it only gets a 2 count after Undertaker's choke slam. So Rock ends up having to hit a rock bottom to finally put Kane away and defend his championship. So clearly, things are not over yet between Undertaker and Kane, like they never will be.
Exactly.
But Undertaker's got some unfinished business here with The Rock as well. He rides up the ramp, just kind of stares a hole back into The Rock as he, Undertaker at least, raises his fist up to the sky in his little salute there to end the show in an episode of Raw. So kind of sowing the seeds for all of these guys being involved in this match at Unforgiven, and we're going to see one other person, as we've already mentioned, kind of get involved in this build-up here as well.
Yeah, and man, I tell you what, this young up-and-comer Kane, man, he's getting a good push here, and he's being protected, so kicking out of choke slams, and he's gonna, man, honestly, they do a good job building Kane up, and during this whole build here, it's kind of funny to think about, kind of where he's come from and where he's gone and everything. So it's been fun to revisit this too, because on SmackDown here, SmackDown 54 on August 31st, we get the Lugs Boot of the Week. With which, if you guys remember, that's that little blue man from it's not the Blue Man Group, and he's not a Navi from Avatar, but he's this little blue guy in some Big Show FUBU jeans.
A little more ethnic, I would say.
A little bit.
An ethnic blue man.
Can
I say that? I don't know.
I think so. It's late. I think you can say it. Yeah, he is, and he's got these Lugs boots on. So the boot of the week is Taker chokeslamming Kane from back on Raw. So that was nice. Since I'm covering SmackDowns this week, it was nice to kind of know what's going on Raw there. So
who was it that used to do the Lugs commercials? Was that Funkmaster Flex?
Yes, I think it was.
I was gonna say CeeLo, but that's not right.
No, I think it was Funkmaster Flex. So man, what happened to Lugs?
I don't know, but they used to be all the time. That and like 1-800-COLLECT. That was always Raw. Yeah, just like the same commercials.
Well, for a while there was all those 1010 numbers. Remember they're on Raw and Nitro.
Oh yeah, Carrot Top.
New 1010 220 or 1010 ATT or 1-800-CALL is all those on Raw and Nitro every single week. So yeah, Carrot Top. Good heavens, man. What the heck? That guy sucks. Anyway, speaking of Carrot Top, Undertaker, who has red hair now, he's going to be...
That's what we're going to start calling him.
Can we call him?
Old Carrot Top.
Jim Ross eventually calls him Booger Red, so surely we can call him Carrot Top.
I love it.
I don't think that's okay to call him that. Kicked out of the locker room. But Carrot Top...
He's not ever going to hear it.
No, that's true. Carrot Top takes on Benoit in a WWF title #1 contenders match on SmackDown, and it can only be won by pinfall or submission. So I guess that's the same as every other match, but they reiterate that like over and over again. So and I just something I wanted to point out for this match is when Undertaker rides down, and I'm sure I've noticed it before, but it just stood out to me this week was that Undertaker has a vanity plate on the back of his motorcycle that says Undertaker in like calligraphy. It's like, oh, it's so good.
That
It's
is
like one of those
amazing.
you find at like the gas station outside of like or any place in Orlando. It's just, like or like New York. A little tiny vanity plate you bring back to your friend, from.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure we brought each other some, but he's got his own. I love it.
how did they have one that said Undertaker?
I don't know. I have no idea. So, but I love it, man. So yeah, he's got his own vanity plate. Just as we're talking about his evolution and the production that goes into him, I just thought it was something funny to look at.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so Taker goes right after Benoit as he gets in the ring, and it's a pretty intense match, as most Benoit matches are. So the end comes. So Taker actually hits an Alabama Slam in this match, which was awesome to see. We've seen him add some new moves to his repertoire, and he goes for a choke slam, and Kane runs in and stops it and attacks Taker. So that causes a DQ. So I guess Monday night his choke slam didn't cause a DQ, but Kane coming in causes a DQ here. So we still have no #1 contender. Benoit gets mad at Kane because he just cost him, the #1 contendership as well. So they all three start brawling. The crowd's going nuts, chanting for Rocky. Rock runs out and starts going nuts on Benoit, and Taker dumps Kane over the top rope, and so he kind of left with the good guys, Rock and Taker, in the ring there. So that's how Benoit gets kind of added into this because he's been feuding with The Rock, and I guess these last couple months, and actually has won the title on several occasions, or one occasion, and Mick Foley kind of, fixed that. But anyways, they're plugging all four of these guys in together right here at the beginning of this build to Unforgiven. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because I was about to say, we might seem kind of out of nowhere that Chris Benoit is popping up here in this match, but he has been quickly rising up the ranks here in the summer of 2000. And we did kind of mention on the Fully Loaded episode, he was in the main event of that show, taking on The Rock. So, and he had a big match with Chris Jericho at SummerSlam, I believe. So yeah, it might seem a little out of nowhere as we're talking about it, but he has been creeping into that main event scene and been on the verge of it, on the fringe of it, along with his little partnership with Shane McMahon as well. So he is become kind of a little bit similar to AJ Styles, that quick rise up to the top for that type of guy. Chris Benoit here playing that role. But yeah, like you said, takes us to Raw, episode 380, September 2nd, 2000. Rock and Undertaker, kind of out of nowhere, are going to team up tonight to take on Edge and Christian for the tag team titles. So that's going to be the main event of the show. Those two guys, I don't even know if they really explain where it comes from, but team up against Edge and Christian here. We also get Chris Benoit and Kane now in the #1 contender match. So that is coming off a little bit of what happened on SmackDown. Rock comes out and does commentary on it and gets just... I don't even know what to say about this line, man. He, on commentary, The Rock says...
Well, if you really want to know what Kane's face looks like, I'll tell you what. It looks like an orangutan went ahead. It looks like an orangutan went ahead and took off Kane's mask, squatted, took a crap, lit that sumbitch on fire, and stomped it out with some football shoes. Oh, my God! That's rather graphic, isn't it? Yeah!
Not holding anything back there.
Football shoes. Quick cleats.
Yeah, he played football.
Yeah, no.
Can't remember
those
what they're
football
called.
shoes.
But yeah, that is a savage takedown of Kane.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there. And but it's not really true because we kind of saw Kane's face last week on SummerSlam. Didn't quite look that bad, but whatever. Kayfabe.
Yeah, it's all good.
Kane ends up winning by DQ because Benoit's going to bring a chair into the ring and blast Kane with it. And then Rock's going to hop in the ring and give Kane the rock bottom on the outside. And so Rock walks away standing tall. We still have no #1 contender quite yet for that match. Meanwhile, Edge and Christian are doing their thing backstage, coming up with excuses to get out of their match with Undertaker and Rock, as is their routine. So they're brainstorming, and Edge says, what about pneumonia? And Christian says, no, Mick's a best-selling author. He'll see right through that. And Edge says, what about Tourette's? Christian's like, yeah, that's pretty good. We're on live TV. We can't be trusted if we have Tourette's. And then Edge says, how about genital warts? And Christian says, yeah, no one's going to want to touch us or look down our pants. Genital warts rule.
I remember that.
Classic, man. These segments are gold.
They're so good.
Unfortunately, Commissioner Foley barges in on them and tells them if they try to weasel out of their match, he'll strip them out of their titles and suspend them indefinitely, and informs them, of course, that genital warts do not rule. They can be painful or embarrassing. At least that's what Foley's heard. I mean, 18 years later, I still laughed out loud at this, man. It's so good.
Absolutely. I remember that like it's yesterday, man. It's so funny. Oh, so funny. Man, speaking of, as a side note, I can't recommend Edge and Christian on the most recent episode of Ride Along enough. So we were talking the other week about how, imagine the Attitude Era guys got on there. You know, they're all middle-aged and ridiculous now, but they were hilarious on there. They pretty much stole the show and showed everybody else on the main roster nowadays like what the show's supposed to be about. So it was funny. So.
I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, it's funny. So anyway, they're just so good together. And yeah, them and Mick is just comedy gold, man.
It's great, man. It's so good. Kane comes out for guest commentary for the main event. Yes, Kane doing commentary for the main event, which sounds ridiculous, and we've seen it a couple times. But, dude, he's actually going to talk more than I've ever heard him talk here on commentary for this match. He's immediately better than Byron Saxton on commentary.
Whoa, of course.
And Kane is actually doing commentary only with Jim Ross because, and follow me here, Jerry Lawler is MIA on the commentary table because Taz choked him out with a leather strap. And this was after Jerry the King pinned Taz in a tag team match. Jerry's partner was Chris Jericho. And Taz's partner in this tag match was assigned to him by Commissioner Foley. Taz only wanted to have a handicap match against these guys, but Foley said he couldn't do that, but he would assign him a multiple-time champion as his tag team partner. And that champion would be none other than Naked Midian. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our good old friend Midian, our favorite character from the Ministry of Darkness, has become a streaker. And the distraction of Naked Midian as Taz's partner allows Taz to be rolled up in 3 seconds by Jerry the King Lawler, which leads to Taz beating up Jerry the King Lawler. And Travis, I can think of nothing more fitting to be our Vince Russo Memorial Bromance of the Week than the rise of Naked Midian.
Whoa, be careful how you choose those words. Oh, man. But yeah, that has to be the bromance of the week, dude. Dude, I was wondering when Naked Midian was going to rear his ugly little head. Man, whoa, wait a minute. Anyway, that was not intentional. Anyway, because I'll be honest, we see him later on in something I'm going to cover on SmackDown, and he's not naked.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, not at all. So I was wondering, like, when that happens. Did he have the fanny back on and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so good. You remember when I made him on No Mercy?
Not only do I remember that you made Naked Midian, or I believe we called him Nudian.
Nudian, yeah.
You also made him a tag team partner.
I did. Who was his tag team partner?
You don't remember?
I don't remember, but I remember...
it was...
Wait, was it... Go ahead.
The Nude Meanie.
Yes, yeah, Blue Meanie. I made the Nude Meanie and Nudian. It's watching Blue Meanie naked dance out there with that little taunt was hilarious.
That was classic.
Oh, that would have been some Russo. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a naked wrestler was not a Russo moment. It was not a Russo idea.
Wrestler who streaked. Yes.
Yeah.
So once again,
wow,
defending Vince Russo here.
Stealing the show, man.
Man. No words. No, that's all I need to say. So Kane, moving on. Please, God, let's move on. Kane actually talks on commentary a ton here. He talks about how The Rock infuriates him. The Rock has had everything handed to him over the years. He's the most popular kid in school. He gets all the title shots, all the girls. And meanwhile, Kane, he's been a freak all his life. He's had to fight for everything just to be considered almost human. So kind of Kane building up this rivalry with The Rock, and like I said, communicating more than we've literally ever heard him in 3 years now.
Yeah.
Just it's interesting to hear. And like I said, he's immediately better than half the people we have on commentary nowadays.
Sure.
Undertaker kind of plays the face in peril for this tag team match with him and Rock against Edge and Christian. And Rock gets the hot tag eventually to Undertaker and gets a really big reaction. Chris Benoit is going to interfere again and fight with Undertaker on the outside. Edge hits Rock with a chair behind the ref's back, but Christian still only gets a 2 count on the Rock after that. Rock comes back and hits a spine buster, but Kane pulls the ref out of the ring after this. Undertaker goes after Kane. Hebner gets caught up in the middle between them, and that finally allows Edge and Christian to hit the concerto on the Rock and Earl Hebner to count the 3 for Edge and Christian to get the victory over Undertaker and The Rock here. So just more turmoil between all 4 of these guys. Undertaker, Rock, Kane, Chris Benoit, all starting to really get heated with each other as the build-up intensifies going into SmackDown.
Yeah, man, that's a big win for Edge and Christian.
Huge,
even though
yeah.
those 2 main event guys there, and like we've been mentioning that they're pretty much punching bags for Taker recently. So nice to see them get a win. So
remind me a lot of the New Day nowadays. They're a tag team, but they get plugged into a lot of these main event spots and mingle with a lot of these guys and pick up some major wins, and they're getting elevated into being major players this way.
Yeah, well, and not just them, but even the Hardys or the Dudleys or even the APA. You could add any of those guys to main events of these shows back in those days, and it made sense. I'm gonna cover one in a few minutes here with the Dudleys, and it wasn't like, oh, why are they in the main event? It was like, that makes sense, and like you said, New Day is probably about the only team right now that you could, in the current day, that you could throw into the main event, and it would seem, like legit. So yeah, I wish that they would build the tag teams up again, like they used to.
Oh, yeah.
Back in this era was the best. So.
You're not throwing the Ascension on the main event of Raw anytime soon.
I'm moving on to SmackDown 55.
No offense. I love those guys.
Oh, golly. That just made me laugh thinking about that. So, SmackDown 55, September 7th. Foley, Commissioner Foley, he's listening to Kurt Angle whine about Monday night.
Did you know that in addition to writing books, I read them as well? What kind of books? Well, I'm reading right now a book about subliminal language, and I can tell from the words you choose to use about the pressure you're under, how you took China out, took being a derivative of the word take, that what you're really saying to me is that you want to wrestle the Undertaker right here in Louisville, Kentucky. No, I'm not, Nick. That's not what I'm saying. Yes, it is. You should read those books.
New York Times bestseller right there, ladies and gentlemen. So it doesn't get any more dad jokey than that. So, so basically, we're going to get Angle and Taker again for the 3rd or 4th time since they've finally, since they fought back at Fully Loaded. So I think this will be the 3rd match I think they've had. So anyway, Edge and Christian gloat about beating Rock and Taker on Monday, and they kind of show a lot of different replays about it until the Rock interrupts him, and he says he wants both of them tonight, and he doesn't care. He just wants to get retaliation on both of them. So they tell him that as long as his WWF title's on the line, they can be in the ring at the same time, and he'll have his match. And The Rock's like, fine, I couldn't care less. Like, I'll take you both on. I'll take your grandma on, take your mom on. Doesn't matter. Just bring me you guys. And so that's supposed to happen later on tonight. And then, in a completely unrelated note, I just noticed this. We get Randy Orton's TV debut backstage in an APA segment.
Really?
They're at the bar. Yeah, they're at the bar, and he is sitting there with a lady to his side, just as one of the casual, bartenders. Not bartenders, one of the extras at the bar. So
wow, I did not realize that.
No, we'll see. I remember watching like a WWE list this thing on YouTube a couple months ago about like random debuts before, actual debuts of people before they really debuted in the roster, and they showed this, and I was wow. I wonder when that was, and so it just happened to be on this episode. So September 7th, 2000, which was where Randy Orton was on TV for the first time for WWE. So
That is crazy.
it's weird, man. Yeah, he looks like such a baby.
Yeah.
So getting back to the story at hand, Taker rides down for his match with Angle, and dude, it must be business casual day because his shirt is denim cut off sleeve and it is tucked in, his belt on, man. Like it's just looking
Looking good, dude.
fresh. Yeah, fresh out the local 81.
Do you think Undertaker saw Mick Foley just strolling into work every day in his sweatpants and flannel and was thinking, man, how can I get in on that? And that's how he came up with the Biker Taker gimmick?
I think it echoes back to what you mentioned. I think it was last week when Edge was like, dude, you never change clothes. Like, you don't need a dressing room. I think Taker picked up on that. It's like, genius. Yeah.
That's pretty smart, dude.
I mean, you save money on, like, your outfits, and you don't have to spend, just put that money in the bank. You don't have to worry about it on extravagant outfits like Ric Flair or anything like that, or Triple H changes his clothes all the time. Like, yeah.
That's right.
Just wear whatever the crap you woke up in. Wear it to work. So, anyway, so we see Hunter and Steph watching backstage during this match, and now I need your help and your listeners' help. I do not recall this happening before this night on SmackDown, but I know we've been calling the move when he wrenches the arm, walks across the top rope, and clubs him, jumps off and clubs him, which is an impressive move that we kind of take for granted nowadays. But watching a big man do that back in the early 90s was incredible. We've been calling it old school here on Talking Taker because that's what we know it as. Well, this night, he wrenches the arm Angle. He looks out to the crowd, as we know he's been yelling at the crowd things this last several months, and he just goes, and he goes up top. So, I don't know, man. Have you heard it on Raw's Even Watch or anything?
I believe you have caught the historic first uttering of that term. I thought it was later because I've jumped ahead a little bit and watched some of the stuff we're covering in the next few weeks, and I've heard him do it. First time I heard it, like I said, we kind of switch off which shows we're watching as we're recapping this stuff for you guys. So yeah, I thought it happened later, but I think you caught the debut of that term. So pretty historic right there.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of people think. Or I know I used to. I thought Michael Cole coined that term.
Me too.
He was the first person to do that, but Undertaker did it himself.
Yeah, so calling the shots, man, and inventing everything. So invents his own throwback catchphrase of old school. So yeah, all right. I thought Michael Cole invented that as well. It's better than Calvary, but anyway. So yeah, Taker yells old school here, and then as he goes for the last ride later on, Benoit runs in and causes another DQ by attacking Taker. So we got DQs left and right on this build. So which is good. Sometimes it's okay for people not to take a pinfall loss, and you still get the heat on the heel that way and stuff. So I wish they do that more nowadays. You don't have to always have a clean win. So anyway, Benoit and Angle kind of rekindle their Shane Event Mafia short-lived program, and they start double teaming Taker, and Hunter runs out and starts going right for Kurt Angle, and commentary's like, is Hunter going to help? Is he helping Taker, or is he just after Kurt? And they're battling up the ramp, and Taker hits a huge last ride on Benoit in the middle of the ring, and just, man, it hurt to watch. That move cannot be okay to take. So
yeah,
the more I watch it, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. So, and when commentary is speculating there, if those of you who keep a score at home, Triple H is going to be a face for about a month here. So a short-lived face turn. This is kind of the beginning of it, and a lot of people remember him and Angle, and I kind of forgot he was a good guy for a couple weeks here. So it doesn't last very long, but this is kind of the beginning of it right here. So, but the main event, Rock is supposed to take on Edge and Christian, and before he even does that, he attacks him backstage and throws Edge into a RC Edge Cola machine. So those of you who remember RC Edge Cola, I don't remember if I ever drank it, but how punny that he throws Edge into it. So due to this, Christian's going to have no tag partner, but then Kane decides to become his partner, and same rules. He and Christian can be in the ring and at the same time against The Rock, but of course they can't get along because they don't want each other to win the WWF title. So Edge winds up coming out, Kane attacks him, and Rock gets the pin on Christian after a rock bottom, and Kane then just goes berserk and chokeslams Rock through an announce table to end that show. So That's kind of another Russo booking move when your WWF Championship is on the line against two guys in the ring at the same time,
True.
and they're kind of a tag team, but not really. So yeah, but not there's a lot of handicap matches in this era of the WWF.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
A lot more than recently for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that wraps up that episode of SmackDown there.
Yeah, and as you listeners probably pick up on, we're still searching for that number one contender for The Rock's WWF Championship here. Mick Foley is going to open up Raw on 9/11/2000, Raw 381. Weird, right there, a year before the actual 9/11 we all remember. What Mick Foley wants to talk about to open the show is who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin. So now that Stone Cold is going to be returning at Unforgiven, he's going to make his big return full-time to the WWF. He did pop up at Backlash 2000, but this is going to be his big return here. And so now the focus is back on who ran him over back at Survivor Series 1999. The Rock is going to come out and vehemently deny that he is the one who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin, and is going to shift to talking about how he wants to fight Kane for the title tonight. Chris Benoit is going to interrupt him and say, as far as he's concerned, they work in the World Wrestling Federation, and he's the best wrestler in the world, so he wants a title shot. Kane interrupts. He's immediately interrupted by The Undertaker, and if you don't know what's about to happen, then you probably haven't been watching wrestling all that long. Undertaker says, as long as we're talking number one contenders, you can't forget about me. Everybody starts fighting with each other. Foley tries to pull everybody apart, and then Kane clotheslines Mick Foley out of the ring. A bunch of refs come out, finally separating everybody, so Foley kind of splits the difference here and makes Benoit and Kane versus Undertaker and Rock tonight in our tag team match main event.
That sounds exactly like my little fake federations I made on my number. Actually, that is exactly how I would have booked that.
Paint by numbers.
Yep.
Booking 101 right there. We're going to get some segments with both teams kind of trying to get on the same page later in the night. Chris Benoit tries to give Kane a pep talk, and Kane informs Benoit that he was never, ever picked last for kickball. In case anyone out there is wondering.
Thanks.
Rock wants to know if Undertaker's going to be there for him tonight. Undertaker takes a big old spit and reassures Rock he will be there for him, and he'll also be there for his belt whenever Foley decides to announce the new number one contender. And this just made me think, man, we talked about those Lugs Boots ads. We're also seeing all sorts of ads on these shows for the anti-tobacco campaign. Tobacco is wacko if you're a teen. Dude, how in the world is the WWF showing these ads for an anti-tobacco campaign and then also having one of their top two baby faces consistently using tobacco every single week? What is going on?
And also bringing his little brother into it, as we saw last month. So, yeah, I have no idea. It's those truth.com commercials or whatever, right? The tobacco is wacko if you're a teen. And, Taker's just, his dips are getting fatter and fatter every week. It's slick, dude. They are getting big. Oh,
people criticize the anti-bullying stuff, but, dude, this is the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen.
It's crazy.
The main event, this tag match, crowd is super hot, as they were during this time, main events, especially for The Rock. They're into every little thing he does. Undertaker gets Benoit in between his legs for the last drive, but Kane comes in and clotheslines Undertaker, which allows Benoit to roll through and get the pin on the Undertaker.
That was a neat finish, wasn't it, man? Because I saw a replay of this on SmackDown. I thought it was a cool finish.
Cool finish, pretty clean considering, and a pretty big win for Benoit there. Get that pin over Undertaker. I think you mentioned this later on in your notes, but we're seeing Undertaker lay down for the 3 count a lot more than we've ever seen in this era.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just did not remember that, having. And maybe that's why, at the time in 2000, I didn't like this version so much because he was so much more vulnerable. But like I said, since we've been following, his career now, in 2018, we're looking at it and going back and looking at all this stuff. It is neat to see him, be more human and not so on the top. But like you mentioned a couple episodes ago, talking about how people kind of look at this era of him and see him, don't give him a lot of crap because for not putting guys over and stuff, like we talked about, like Fully Loaded and stuff. But Dude, he's putting guys over left and right on Raw SmackDown.
Oh, yeah. We've actually seen quite a lot of it.
Yeah, and we'll see some more here coming up soon. So,
show ends. Commissioner Foley has actually been on commentary for this match, and he gets up and decides that the only way to settle this between these four guys is, of course, a fatal four-way match at Unforgiven. And that leads to everybody brawling in the ring, a bunch of referees coming in, trying to get in between them. And Undertaker gives Kane a choke slam, and The Rock gives Benoit a rock bottom simultaneously as Raw goes off the air. Pretty cool finish there.
Yeah, that's always good when they end the show that way with the simultaneous finishers. So
yeah,
it's always fun little thing. So yeah, I'll take us to SmackDown on Thursday on 56 on September 14th, 2000. So that would have been my wife's 12th birthday. Wow, that's weird. Anyway,
weird to say that.
Yeah, it is. So Foley opens up the show recapping everything that's been happening. He says that he answers to the fans and he wants to give them what they want. So that's why he made this fatal four-way match for the title at Unforgiven. And he also on Raw, I guess he booked Angle versus Triple H at Unforgiven and made himself the referee. So he's got this plan. He says that in order to keep these six men from tearing each other apart and ruining my main events at Unforgiven, I got a plan. Otherwise, they're going to ruin each other and take each other out, and we're going to have Al Snow in the main event, and nobody wants to see that.
Definitely not during this era. He's doing this gimmick where he's the European champion, and he comes out from a different country every week. It is.
I love it.
It's funny, so but it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's so just like easily that's just stupid.
No,
So yeah,
no.
So he can't ever pass up an opportunity to throw his pal Al Snow under the bus. So he does so here. So again, he's got this plan, and he hasn't revealed it yet because Rock interrupts, and he comes out and he's like, "I'm ready to lay the smackdown on everybody's candy." You know what? And so he Foley shows him the footage from Monday with all the interaction between him and Taker, and are they friends? Are they not friends? What you just covered a minute ago with Taker, spitting that fat dip, and then Foley's like, there's a look in Taker's eye that scares the heck out of me, and it's the same look I got from him back in June of '98, back at King of the Ring when he threw me off the cell. So as he's saying this, he's basically saying, Taker's going crazy, and Taker's music hits, and he walks out. He's got his black leather vest on that he got from Wilson's Leathers, I guess, in the mall. So, and he comes out, and he gives a little promo here. He's like, I ain't the kind of guy who hides his feelings well. Just because me and The Rock, we aren't friends, doesn't mean I'm going to take him out. And just because me and Austin ain't seen eye to eye, doesn't mean I'm going to mow him down with a car. So going back to that Austin stuff, that Mick started on Monday. So, and then Taker goes on, he says, make no mistake about it, I'm the kind of guy that gets what he wants, and what I want right now, you have. And he kind of gets right in Rock's face. It's pretty cool. And Foley's like, no, wait, just wait. We had 10 days left, and then Benoit comes out, and dude, he gets some freaking serious heat here, man. I don't remember him being such a heat magnet here, but yeah, I mean, he's getting a-hole chants and stuff like Vince used to.
Wow.
So yeah, weird. So anyway, he shows that footage from him pinning Taker on Raw, like you said, and he's like, I don't see why it's a fatal four-way when I'm the better wrestler, and I pinned Undertaker and yada yada. So then that brings out Kane, like you said, paint by numbers. We got to know what's going to happen here. So Kane comes out, and he's not interested in proving Benoit wrong. He's going to go prove everyone right that calls him a monster his whole life. And then Foley's like, okay, well, let me just tell you guys my plan. I'm going to give you my plan for tonight to keep you guys separated and from tearing each other apart. And as he's about to reveal his plan, Kurt Angle comes out, and he carries on and on about Hunter and shows some footage with Stephanie from Monday where Hunter kind of knocked her over thinking she was somebody else. And as he's doing this, Hunter storms out, kind of goes straight at Angle. Yeah. Oh, I'm not done yet. Yeah, he goes straight at Angle. Foley starts holding him back. He's like, let me reveal my plan. To ensure that you guys won't destroy each other before Unforgiven, everyone's going to team up tonight. We're going to have TNA versus Angle and Hunter. We're going to have Kane and Benoit versus the APA in an Acolytes rules match, whatever the heck that is.
All right.
And we're going to have Taker and Rock versus Dudley Boys in a tables match in the main event. So if you get physical with your partner or you refuse to work together, you will be out of the match at Unforgiven. And as I'm trying to take a breath here, as I'm recapping this took 19 minutes, dude, of airtime. 19 minutes, dude. That's just eating up precious clock, man. It's just crazy. So, but I don't understand part of it because if you're going to try to protect these guys from ruining your main event in 10 days, why would you put two of them in a tables match and two of them in an anything goes Acolytes rules match? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, Mick Foley's been hitting the head of the chair a few times, man. It's not always the brightest of plans coming out there. But, yeah, dude, these opening segments sometimes they are a chore to just try to sit through and understand what's going on. And, oh, my God, so many people involved just to get,
so much.
Just tell us what the matches are, man.
Right. That could have taken 7 minutes, you know? So, but anyway, so I'll try to boogie through the rest of this because it goes pretty quick. So Kane and Benoit attacked. So basically, they're all in the ring, and Kane and Benoit immediately attack The Rock. And as Taker's leaving to go up the ramp, and Taker kind of turns around and he's like shrugs his shoulders like and he's like, you kind of see him roll his eyes and kind of he's like, oh dang it. And he kind of runs back in and helps Rock, throws Benoit over the top, and then he walks out and Kane chokeslams The Rock. And then at that point, Taker's just kind of like, whatever, and he just leaves. So APA take on Benoit and Kane. And Bradshaw hits the top rope shoulder block, and then they hit the 3DB. Remember that move? Like the 3 it was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like the Dudley's other finisher on No Mercy, but they called it the 3DB, which is basically a back suplex into a neck breaker. So I always enjoyed that move, but APA does that, and then Benoit basically goes up the ramp. He's kind of trying to abandon Kane, and so he lets him eat a clothesline from hell, and then the APA double cover Kane for the win. So it took two guys to hold his shoulders down. So like I said, this young upstart Kane is getting a big push here. So, yeah, but he immediately just after the 3 count, he no sells anything that just happened, gets up, storms up after Benoit, and the commentator's like, remember, there's zero tolerance. You can't attack each other. Which, remember that. So, because I think they forget that later on. So, backstage, Taker's with Hermie, and he says that he's going to be professional tonight with The Rock. Just don't tick me off. You know, that's the PC version of what he says. So, Rock's interviewed by Lillian, and he's like, you know, it doesn't matter if I tick you off. You ticked me off already, and I can't trust anybody, including you, Lillian. And he goes on to make some comments to her that we all know and love and laughed at about pie and strudel and stuff. So anyway, we get to the main event. Like I was saying, Dudley's are out with a table. Again, tag match. Dudley's in the main event. But it didn't seem like weird. It was like, oh, this makes sense. Like, these guys belong here.
Pulled it off.
Yeah. So anyway, Taker and Rock are having no issues throughout. Dudley's bringing a table in after the was up head drop. Taker big boots the table right into their faces, though, like almost like a Van Daminator. He just big boots the table right in their face. So
nice.
Anyway, we got a table in the corner. Rock grabs a different table. Rock gets thrown over the top rope, and as he does, Taker kind of turns around. He's looking at him and kind of saying like, "Get back in the ring." He turns around, 3D through a table, boom. Dudley Boys win. So
wow, another big win there.
Another big win for the tag team over the Undertaker. So crazy. And Rock gets back in the ring, and Taker's livid, and so he chokeslams him through the other table and leaves him laying. So again, earlier commentary was like, Kane can't go after Benoit because there's zero tolerance. But then here, Taker chokeslams Rock, and he receives no punishment. So, but like you said, he's losing more often than he ever did in the past, and it's just neat to see that, I guess. So I mean, it's different for sure.
Well, the heat is boiling between Rock and Undertaker on the Go Home show for Raw 9/18/2000, episode 382. Rock opens the show calling out Undertaker, telling him he's willing to put the title on the line against him one-on-one tonight. And Undertaker answers promptly and delivers his own verbal smackdown here to The Rock. Man, this promo comes up on YouTube a lot when you search for Undertaker promos, and it is something to behold, man. Undertaker tells Rock, says, "Let me tell you why you need to respect The Undertaker."
Because back when you were in high school, in the back seat of your daddy's car, trying to get some off old Mary Jane Rotten Crutch. What? Mary Jane? I was humping these roads, and I was winning WWF titles.
I told you Thursday night at SmackDown, don't piss me off. And what do you go and do? You leave me hanging, and the Dudley Boys put me through a table. Now, Rock, that pissed me off. So you can stand here and lift all the eyebrows you want, talk about all the monkey's nipples you want. Well, you called me out, boy. And I just hope you can back up the smack your mouth is spewing out.
Wow. Some hot words.
I mean, Yeah. I've
That's a
never heard
far
the
cry
term
from.
humping the roads before, but apparently that's what
No.
Undertaker was out there doing.
Just think of how far he's come from, the rest in peace, and now this is
Exactly.
it. So
Yes, that is.
we've definitely seen a different guy here.
We are talking about the evolution of this character, and you just summed it up right there.
Yeah.
From rest in peace to Mary Jane Rotten
Mary
Crotch.
Jane Rotten Crotch. Holy cow.
Also, like I said, Undertaker called The Rock boy, and JR makes sure to clarify in commentary that he didn't just call him Roy, he called him boy. So,
Mother goodness.
thank you for that, JR.
I think his Bell's palsy kicked in again. Why would he need to say that?
Oh, no.
He didn't call him Roy. He called him. Why would he call him Roy?
I'm not sure.
But he
Let me
didn't
tell
do
you
it.
something, Roy. Well, Undertaker also, he brings up what you just said, Travis. He says to Rock, let me remind you something. Although I don't dress like Satan anymore, I'm still down with the devil, and I will go medieval on you. So,
Oh, I do remember that.
yeah, it's a cool line there. And again, just showing that evolution, kind of trying to connect the dots there. Still traces of the old Undertaker here in this new version of him. It's a cool little line to throw in there. Commissioner Foley interrupts this incredible promo from The Undertaker, and he wants to spell out the Fatal 4-Way rules, that on Sunday, whoever gets the pinfall first wins. It's first fall to a finish, and Rock does not have to get pinned to lose the title. And I'm just sitting here thinking, yeah, dude, we know how Fatal 4-Ways work. That's pretty much how they've worked for the past 4 years, ever since y'all started doing them. But whatever.
Exactly.
Foley says Rock and Taker will fight tonight, though. Chris Benoit interrupts, and he's not happy. Kane interrupts. He's not happy either. So Foley says, well, why don't you two fight each other as well? And they do start fighting immediately. They fight through the commercial break, and they finally start their match after the first commercial. And King notes that these two might fight all the way to TNN, which Raw is moving to next Monday, which we'll talk about on next week's episode. But that was a pretty historic jump after 7 years of being on USA, or longer than that, but 7 years of Raw on USA.
Yeah, 7.5, because they started in January, right?
Well, WWF's been on USA for probably 15, 20 years before that. But this was their big jump the next week to the former Nashville network, which is going to turn into the National Network. And yeah, that was a huge deal at the time.
It was. So.
Chris Benoit gets disqualified in this match, uses the ring bell. He beats down Kane with the ring bell and does a lot to him, but Kane ends up sitting up after all of it. So again, Kane looking strong.
He does.
Chris Benoit's going to do commentary for our main event, Rock and Taker. Referee Earl Hebner gets knocked down and misses the covers from Rock and Undertaker. Undertaker is able to get the last ride and gets a semi-clean pin on the champ, The Rock, heading into Unforgiven. So Kane interrupts Undertaker's celebration. Benoit gets involved. They double-team Undertaker. Rock recovers and saves the Undertaker and gives him a rock bottom to stand tall at the end of Raw. But we got one more show to get to before we get to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and this SmackDown 57 on September 21st, it opens just... It's really neat. It's got Mick Foley in the ring. The entire roster is surrounding the ring. I mean, everybody except they're all around the ring, and then Rock's music plays and he walks out. So, and I remember this as I was going back and watching this. I forgot it was it's all kind of runs together in your mind. You've been watching wrestling so much as long as we have.
Was Naked Midian out there?
He was standing next to Undertaker, his best friend. Fully clothed, looking exactly like the Undertaker. I mean, he has like a shirt on, like denim pants. So I think he has a fanny pack on too. But he's like, whatever, 6'8". I mean, he's huge.
Yeah,
He's a big guy. Like I'm sure Taker's not literally 6'10", but that's what they bill him as. I mean, if he's 6'10", Midian's 6'8". So he just looks like it looks like the DOA back in '97.
Amazing.
Just standing there. That's what I was saying. Like, I saw Midian here, forgetting again. I haven't seen any highlights of naked Midian as I'm watching this SmackDown. So I didn't realize he was naked at this point yet. Because dude, what if he'd been standing out there for this promo butt naked?
Why not? He should have been, man. It's his gimmick.
Continuity, man. Continuity. So that's a new word. So anyway,
that's a t-shirt.
Foley it is. So Foley decides he wants to get to the bottom of who run over Stone Cold because, that's important as it's been a year almost. It's been 10 months. We got to push that here. But I'll try to make this quick too because this takes over 20 minutes too, man. These SmackDown promos are incredible. And it's not Triple H's fault either. So not always. He's involved in them, but it's not always his fault. So this is kind of a neat thing. I would recommend people go back and watch this. But anyway, he's like, I got a suspect, somebody whose T-shirt sells at Sword since, he's extremely popular. He's gotten the WWF title a couple more times, since Oz disappeared. I think it could be The Rock. And Rock's like, no, I didn't do it. I'll tell you in English. I'll tell you in Swedish. I'll tell you in Chinese. And he's just like, and like you can see Foley about to like break so bad. It's so funny. And I don't know how The Rock doesn't break in any of this stuff, but Foley's like laughing at him, when he's doing like Swedish and Chinese and stuff. So the crowd is just, like you said, they eat anything out of The Rock's hand, man. It's amazing how he could just orchestrate the crowd back then. So
do anything.
Absolutely anything. It didn't work so well in 2011 when he tried to get Kung Pao Chicken over. He lost a little bit of his luster back then. But anyway, back in 2000, he could do no wrong. So regardless of what happened, he's like, I'd still be the WWF champion if Austin was here or not. So then Foley's like, all right, touche. Maybe it's Triple H because his career skyrocketed once Austin disappeared, and Hunter denies it, which of course after Rikishi's failed heel turn, we'll see it actually was Hunter behind it the whole time. So what an abysmal abomination of a storyline that was.
The worst.
That is some WCW level crap that they pulled, man.
Worst.
Take out your biggest star of since Hogan, and you're taking him out, and how can you not come up with a better idea of who ran him over than Rikishi? But
I've got this in my notes for next week's show, but I am so glad we don't have to recover all these Rikishi segments and promos because they are brutal.
Yeah. They're bad because, he's a bad man. So they're very bad. But anyway, Hunter's like, it wasn't me, and it's somebody who's a poor driver, and women are bad drivers, and since his must have been a woman, it must be Kurt Angle, because I don't know if you watched on Raw that week before, but they were making some horrifying jokes about Angle and his sexuality that you definitely cannot get away with this day and age. Dude, it was almost like HBK level stuff when the crowd used to chant at him and stuff back in 97, 98. So it was intense. So anyway, Angle's like, it wasn't me. I had no motive, I'd just gotten here, yada, yada. He's like, it could have been, it probably was S.A. Rios because it's always one of the quiet ones. So S.A. Rios gets in the ring, and this is probably his first and only promo he ever gives in WWF, and he basically denies it, and he says it in Spanish, and Angle's like, all right, well, maybe it was DX and Triple H. And X-Pac gets in the ring. He's like, it wasn't me. I'm sick and tired of being, of being accused of stuff. And it's probably Jericho since he just arrived on the scene, and he was getting off to a mediocre start, which is a shoot comment right there, because that's just pretty funny. So Jericho gets in the ring. You'd have thought that The Rock came in the ring again because his pop is astronomical.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he's just like, talk about motive, he's like, the person that took Austin out was Stephanie, and Stephanie's like, she gets in the ring. She's like, no, I have an alibi. I was with my ex-fiance test. She's like, I think, and here's why I'm telling you all this back at home listening. Here's where Undertaker comes in. So she's like, I think it was someone who wasn't even here the night that Austin was mowed down. There's only one person who was dark and twisted enough. And that's the man who once abducted me, the Undertaker.
Ooh, continuity.
Yeah. Exactly. So
continuity.
Yeah, continuity. So you're welcome for that. So at this point, Kevin Dunn throws the camera to Undertaker, and he's just got this incredulous look on his face and an incredibly large dip in his lip. I'm telling you, man, he's putting like half a pack of that stuff in. So he gets in the ring. Foley starts asking him questions, and Taker's like, yeah, it's true. And the crowd's kind of like, what? Because they know it's not the case. And he's like, it's true that she's a sleazy tramp. he's got jokes, man.
Zinger.
Yeah, so that, of course, causes Kurt Angle to attack Undertaker because he's protecting his friend. Then we get an all-out melee from these guys in the ring. Everybody's attacking each other. Lots of officials and referees come in. Basically, what winds up left in the ring is Taker, Hunter, and The Rock left standing in the ring with Mick Foley. And again, this took 20 minutes long to do this. And the main event of this show is going to be Taker, Rock, and Hunter versus Benoit, Kane, and Angle. Let me repeat that. The Undertaker, The Rock, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Benoit, Kane, and Kurt Angle. Like, that's a big main event, dude.
That's about as stacked as it gets in the year 2000.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, this is where Hunter's kind of a face at this point-ish. So, he's creeping on that line. And so, I'll kind of run through this real quick. So, it's a fun match. Triple H hits a pedigree on Angle. Kane then chokeslams Hunter. Taker punches Kane over the top rope. Kane and Benoit double team The Rock up the ramp. Taker goes to help him out. The referees come out and stop him for some reason and try to break him up for absolutely no reason. Then Taker's like, screw it. He gets on his motorcycle, rides up the ramp, and this is the part where he like almost runs over The Rock. Rock rolls like to his right off the ramp, and he tries to run over The Rock, I guess you could say. And Hunter and Angle are in the ring. Hunter winds up pinning Kurt Angle and then getting hit with a sledgehammer, and we don't need to worry about that because that's their storyline. But anyway, Taker has almost tried to run over The Rock as we go off the air here, and then of course the show ends with Triple H and Angle because that's always more important than the WWF title. Triple H's storyline was more important at this point. So, that brings us to Unforgiven. Well, kind of.
Yeah. Well, before we get that, I just want to jump in and that opening segment you talked about, man, it sounds, I remember it, and I mean, it's entertaining. As I'll get out, you got all these guys involved, but, dude, it just goes to show you, I think, how difficult it is to pull off a great mystery angle in pro wrestling, and points back to the Kane storyline that we talked about here back in the show a while back, the debut of Kane and all this mystery with Paul Bearer revealing him, and how rare it was for that storyline to pay off so satisfactorily.
Yeah.
To have such a great ending and great payoff to all of that. And you got the juxtaposition of that here with this Who Ran Over Stone Cold storyline, and it had so much potential and so much hype, and everybody wanted to know where it went, and ended up landing with just this gigantic thud from the big brown machine, Rikishi. He's taking a massive dump right there on the TV. Again, just pointing to The Undertaker and how incredibly rare and everything involving him turned out to be.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's a good observation. So I'm glad you made that because, yeah, that was such a turd in a punch bowl storyline, man. You could have elevated someone's career. You could have made someone.
Well, they were trying to, but it wasn't the right person.
Well, they misfired.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And if you listen to Bruce Pritchard talk about it, he says, that I think he said he was pushing for Hunter to be it from the beginning, wasn't he, or something? So
yeah,
that should have been who it was. It should have been him or Jericho, but
or Angle
anyway,
even.
Or Angle even.
Yeah.
But we know he had blonde hair, so
yeah.
Billy Gunn, no thanks. That ship sailed.
Anything,
but you guys know we haven't been talking too much about Sunday Night Heat. There have been some things building up on Heat in these last few weeks. So you just kind of get promos from all these four guys, but nothing really to write home about. But Undertaker hasn't been on any of these episodes of Heat, but he is on this Heat before Unforgiven. This is I don't have an episode number because it's not on the network again, but this is September 24th, 2000. This is the hour before Unforgiven. And they weren't on MTV yet, were they? They were going to go the next week on MTV, right? Because they started on TNN the next night.
Yeah,
I think.
I guess so. I guess you're right.
I guess I should have done my research better, but I think this is the last Heat on USA.
Okay.
And then the next week would have been on MTV because that's where Heat moves to once they go to Viacom. So anyway, Kevin Kelly, I almost said Kelly. Kevin Kelly is interviewing people. I wish it was her. It'd have been more interesting. How about it?
Always, dude.
Anyway,
Sidebar. God, I was just watching these shows, man. How great was it being a 14-year-old boy during this time of WWF?
yes,
Dude,
yes.
Terry Runnels, Trish Stratus, Lita,
Lita,
Deborah. My God, man. Anyway,
the Logan, Victoria.
God,
Yep.
yeah, she was popping in there.
Remember the loading screens
They
for
were,
SmackDown?
yeah. Oh man, and they're all at their peaks. And dude, Terry Runnels. Wow. Anyway, moving on. It was a good time.
Well, welcome to the good times. Speaking of a good time, The Undertaker is having a great time here with Kevin Kelly. So Kevin Kelly is interviewing all the competitors, and he's like, how do you feel about the Fatal 4-Way? So anyway, he's waiting on Undertaker backstage. Taker rises up on his motorcycle, and he leaves his bike on, and Kevin Kelly's like, how do you feel about tonight? How are things going to go? And Taker's like, what? And he starts revving his engine like, boom, boom, boom. And Kevin Kelly asks him again, how do you feel about tonight? And Taker's like, what? And he just starts revving it again. So he does it about 4 or 5 times. And he's like, can't hear you. What? And Kevin Kelly just gets ticked off and just storms away. And so I
Poor
don't.
Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, I know, man. Poor Herm. He's doing well for himself now in New Japan and Ring of Honor and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't think we can say that Taker starts the what chant. That's definitely an Austin thing. But it was funny to see that here. He's just like what and just revving his engine. So like I said, man, Taker's got jokes, man. He's got jokes.
Absolutely, he laid the seeds for the what. I give him that.
He did.
So that's going to lead us to Unforgiven 2000, September 24th, 2000, Philadelphia, PA. There you go, home of ECW right here.
Oh yeah.
Although not at the ECW arena, the First Union Center in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
golly.
Dude, I honestly couldn't remember if I've ever seen this show. I may have seen the main event, but I don't remember if I ever saw this one. What about you?
Well, I'm the opposite of that. I definitely saw the show. I rented it the second it came out from video to go. I mean, I could not wait because, again, this is back in the day when you can get the internet is, kind of taking over. It's growing. This is the World Wide Web bubble is bursting here back in 2000. And I remember, you and I both used to go online and read the reviews of the shows. And I remember finding out that Raven debuted this night at Unforgiven in that Taz match. And I can't even put over how much I love Raven. He is one of my favorites, always has been. And I just remember being like he's in WWF now. That's gonna be so cool. Well, little did I know, but anyway, I remember just that and just looking forward to seeing Austin beat the crap out of Just Joe backstage because I remember reading that because he's out on throughout Unforgiven, he's interrogating people backstage and Just Joe walks in and Austin just beats the snot out of him.
Yeah,
and I wanted to see it because I hate Just Joe and I hated him back then, so I wanted to see that and I wanted to see Raven and just something I thought of too. Speaking of Raven, is that he re-debuted in ECW on their first TNN show that you and I watched together at your house, and then he re-debuts in WWF on their first Raw on TNN the next night after this show. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, how random is that? How about
exactly, exactly. So yeah, man, I remember renting this. I remember watching this match, the Forgotten Cage match between the Hardys and the Dudleys. Man, like that was a good match too.
Hardys and Edge and Christian.
Hardys and Edge Christian. Because Hardy's win the titles back. It's just, man, I think this show was good. I remember this Fatal 4-Way. Now I haven't gone back and revisited it until now, but it was a good show, man. I definitely remember renting this and being so excited to see Raven. Being a little bit let down that he debuts against Jerry Lawler. I didn't have the love for Lawler I have now, but I wanted to see Raven come in and be the one that ran over Stone Cold or something and get pushed to the top. But anyway.
Dude, yeah. I agree. I thought this was kind of an underrated show. I went back and watched most of it here before the main event as well the other night. And dude, if you're out there looking for a random show to watch on the network some night, I recommend this one, man. Got kind of a, like you mentioned, the tag team cage match, kind of a fun little strap match with Taz and Jerry Lawler. The fun hardcore match. Oh, Hunter and Triple H and Kurt Angle have a really good match as well. Yeah, sort of a forgotten fun show in this main event. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun as well. They have a pre-match video before the match. Does a really good job of recapping everything that we've already talked about on here, and it does a good job of making all four guys look like a serious threat. So they've done a good job of building up everybody. You could honestly believe any one of these guys walking out with the title tonight.
Right, because even though Benoit is the smallest guy, he's technically won the title from Rock back at Fully Loaded, and had to have the match overturned and stuff. So, he definitely is believable. Obviously, like I said, they've been putting Kane over like crazy. And then, you got Taker and Rock, who are what they are. So they've done a great job. You definitely could have seen, like you said, any one of these four guys walking away with the title this night. So pretty cool.
Well, you talked earlier about Undertaker debuting the term old school. I think he's going to debut something else, another one of his famous catchphrases right before this match as he gets interviewed by little babyface Jonathan Coachman.
Yeah, a little like Babyface the singer. He looks kind of like him.
A little bit.
That guy. Anyway, the Babyface coach is backstage and he's interviewing him, and Taker's like,
You see, what they forgot when I was away, that ring out there, it's my yard. And I'm the big dog that runs that yard. So that ride that they're going to take tonight, they better hope it ain't their last ride.
I don't know if he debuted that That's My Yard and I'm the big dog that runs it, but to me, that was the first time I remember it, because, again, we've been following his career under a microscope here. So,
yeah.
As far as I can tell, it's the debut of that. So.
Debut of that, and something that became a big part of his legacy. It's still a term people use to refer to him all these years later.
Yeah. And he'll use that during the Roman Reigns feud,
years be a big part of it.
Here.
Yep.
Yeah.
All started right here, Unforgiven 2000. Undertaker's going to come out first for this Fatal 4-Way. We got JR and King on commentary, as per usual during this time, and JR is going to refer to Undertaker. Somebody's referred to him a few times, calls him the conscience of the WWF, but apparently he's clearly already forgotten about the entirety of 1999 when the conscience was corrupted. Benoit comes out second. King on commentary predicts that Benoit will walk away with the title. Kane comes out third, and by this point there are already half a dozen referees in the ring, already trying to keep everybody apart. And Rock's going to come out last. He is the champion, so that, of course, makes sense.
Oh, yeah, he comes out, dude, and I just wrote my note. I think it's a Philly cheese pop, dude. This pop is out of control,
Philly
man.
cheese pop.
Cheese pop,
delicious.
So good. Yeah, he gets that Philly cheese pop. But, dude, speaking of, let me back up for just a second here. Can we talk about what Taker is wearing? Because he comes out, dude. He's got the black leather trench coat, a black bandana, black boots, and like an oversized blue shirt that looks like something my dad would paint in, and like it's tucked into his bleens, his black jeans.
He looks like he walked into Walmart 20 minutes before the pay-per-view. He's like, daggone, man, I need something to fight in tonight. Straight off the rack, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous, man. It's out of control. How terrible. So, I love it. I love it.
The announcers are going to clarify for us, as we've mentioned already, that it's going to be first fall to a finish, as most Fatal 4-Ways are.
Is.
Yep. Yeah. In case we're watching wrestling for the very first time here. Everybody's going to start off. Rock and Kane kind of pair off at the beginning. Benoit and Taker pair off for a little while. Fists are flying. Everybody's going after each other. Really hot start here at the beginning. Rock and Benoit fight into the crowd, and Taker and Kane are going to slug it out in the middle of the ring. It's just going crazy here at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, and during all this, when Kane's in there, Jerry Lawler's in the commentary. He's like, I'd like to know who... Or no, I'm sorry, it's JR. He's like, I'd like to know who Kane's linguist is that's teaching him how to talk all this smacks. On commentary, says like, we've heard him talk so much. So that's probably the first time JR has ever said linguist. So that came through the headset from Vince on his little Word of the Day calendar.
Word of the Day, man. Popping up again.
We haven't had that in a while, so I think that was there. But there's a lot of insanity. Kane did the top rope dive and clothesline to Taker as The Rock is choking Benoit out with a TV cable outside. So that's kind of eerie. But anyway, big boot to Kane gets a 2 count. Taker does one of my favorite things ever in the history of wrestling, and that's so he gets big boot on Kane, gets a 2 count, and then he pulls a page out of the dirtiest player in the books repertoire, and he goes for the pinfall again immediately and gets another 2 count. So that's one of my favorite things
that,
ever
man.
for a heel. Yeah, and why did no one ever win matches that way? That'd have been such a great thing.
Great finish.
I know. Just 2 count, the guy kicks out, hits him again, 3 count. Like the commentary could sell it like he just exhausted his last breath kicking out, or something. But no one ever did that.
Someone needs to do that sometime. So. Yeah.
Flair tried it, bless his heart, but he had so many other things to pull off. So anyway, I appreciate Taker pulling off Ric Flair move there. So.
Let's see here. Undertaker does go for his old school move. He doesn't call it out like he did before, but Rock pulls him down. Rock clotheslines Undertaker out of the ring, and he does not land the perfect 10. He is not the monster that he once was, man.
Yeah.
Can't hit that anymore. Kane's going to slide in and start fighting The Rock, but Kane's going to unfortunately knock out the ref. And that is going to lead to a chair coming into the ring now that the referee's out cold.
Yeah, the referee's out, so Taker brings a chair in the ring, and he hits The Rock with it. And then Benoit adds one. He brings one in as well, and he just hits Taker right in the head with it. And then he pins The Undertaker as the referee comes to, and he counts to 3, and he gets a 3 count on him, but Taker's leg is on the bottom rope. So, once again, Benoit he wins the match, but doesn't win the match. But it's cool because he goes and grabs the title and leaves up the aisleway, and then Mick Foley comes out and meets him and kind of tells him what's going on. But was it weird to you that they didn't announce to the crowd what had happened?
Yeah, they kind of. The crowd didn't understand what this was,
right.
And I'd completely forgotten about this part of the match, man. I think I've seen it before. I couldn't remember fully, but I don't remember this part. So it definitely caught me off guard when Benoit got the 3 count and started to run up the ramp with the title.
Yeah. Well, when I was watching, I was like, wait, did I forget how this match ends? Because I didn't remember that at all. Because I knew he didn't win it here. So, but it was neat to see the little tease there, But it is strange they didn't announce to the arena because after this, the fans are kind of like, huh? Because we forgot to mention earlier, the fans are a little bit, they're into this match, but not as much as they would have been because who came back out earlier? Stone Cold Steve Austin. He stole the pop from everybody.
He did, man. They do this long segment before the main event with with Stone Cold returning, and he stuns Shane McMahon over and over and over again. It's like one of those after the show segments that you see on these episodes of Raw with Stone Cold drinking a bunch of beers and doing that over and over again. It gets a huge reaction and huge pop, but that probably should have been the main event of this show, honestly.
Right.
Because it absolutely drains the crowd for the wrestling match following up.
Yeah. So they're not really sure, they being the crowd, what to think here. It was like I said, Foley comes out and he kind of jaw jacks with Benoit, telling him, you need to turn around because at this point, this is a really cool thing. I like the way they did this. You got Kane, Taker, and Rock all kind of shoulder to shoulder walking up the aisleway toward Benoit. And it just is a cool visual, man, to see him kind of turn around into those 3 big guys, even though Rock's not huge, but it was cool to see him turn around into that. So,
well, they go after him. They all take turns throwing Benoit into the set, the Unforgiven set on the outside. Then they head back into the ring.
Sorry about the moaning, guys. It's my baby. He's having a run in here.
Not a run in.
Oh, crawl in. Not even that.
Not even that.
They throw him in. They throw Benoit into the set, and then they go back toward the ring, and Rock grabs those 300-pound steps and throws them right at the Undertaker, which I thought was great. So they failed to mention they're 300 pounds this week, but last week, they were 300 pounds. So anyway.
Yeah, it gets kind of confusing in here. There's a lot of action. Everybody's going after each other. It is, it's pretty much all action the whole time.
Yeah.
Benoit and Rock get left alone in the ring for a little while, and the announcers are praising Benoit for his performance in the match. It's honestly kind of a coming out party for him, as these other three guys are definitely well-established main eventers, and it's time for Benoit to really shine here. Kane takes
Yeah.
control for a little while. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say he hit those rolling German suplexes on Rock inside, and on the outside, it looked to me. I just wrote it looked like Kane and Taker were moving at the crown jewel speed. Man, they were kind of sleeping outside, waiting for whatever's gonna happen next with their spots or whatever. But it just reminded me of having watched highlights of that crown jewel match. They were foreshadowing 18 years in the future. They were moving kind of slow,
a little bit.
Yeah, but like you said, Benoit's kind of having coming out. He's hits the back suplex that no one hardly does anymore. Charlotte's bringing it back. I love that move for them. But and then he hits a diving headbutt, and Rock kicks out at like 2.9, like right at the end there. So really putting over, all this stuff. Like you said, Kane kind of takes over, and you take it from here. So
Kane takes over, and it's going to be kind of everybody rotating who's in control here for a little while. He hits some choke slams. Rock hits a spine buster on Kane. Benoit cuts him off. Undertaker's going to come in and cut Rock off and hit the last ride, but Kane's going to break up the pin. Kane sends Undertaker out of the ring. Undertaker pulls Kane back out of the ring. Benoit ends up hitting Taker and Kane with some chairs and locking in the crippler crossface on the Rock, but Rock refuses to tap out, and Undertaker makes the save for him. And then Undertaker's going to try to take over and get the win.
Yeah, he choke slams Benoit and goes for a pin, and then Taker gets pulled off by Kane, and they start slugging it out in front of the announcer. So in the ring is Rock and Benoit again. He hits the rock bottom on Benoit, and Taker tries to slide in and break the pinfall up, but he's like 2 inches away, and Kane grabs him and like pulls him out and prevents him from breaking up the pinfall. So Rock gets the 3 count on Benoit at 15 minutes and 18 seconds. And yeah, it kind of suddenly ended right there. I don't know. Did you feel it kind of suddenly ended?
Yeah, it was weird because Kane didn't allow Undertaker to break up the pin and kind of cost himself the match. I didn't really understand the booking of that.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't get that because you would let him break it up. And even though you don't want Taker to win the match, you still don't want Rock to win it either.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
it just didn't make sense. But that end kind of came out of nowhere. But everything between when Benoit quote unquote wins the title and that was pretty fun. A little sprint, everybody hitting everything. Like I said, it's hard to keep up with who's with who. But it's a fun little sprint of a match. I mean, it's only 15 minutes long, which isn't that long for 4 guys. But it was good, man. And they all sold really well afterward. They look like they've been through a war. Commentary's putting it over. How big of a war they've been through, and I mean, it was fun to do this, man. More fun than I remembered it being. So,
yeah, the last few minutes were definitely really hot. I don't think it was as good as the other 2 Fatal 4-Ways we covered, but I enjoyed it. It was fun for what it was. Maybe maybe more fun than the other 2 that we've covered here, or the other 3 that we've covered here since Taker's been back, but we're still kind of ramping up this run so far. And like I said, a little bit of a weird finish, but it's going to keep the story going a little bit between all these guys and leave it a little bit unsettled there. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it. It's probably my favorite match since he's been back that we've covered since he's been back as the Walmart special, special 81 biker taker here.
Or Carrot Top.
So, yeah. Carrot Top. I don't think that's going to get over. I don't think it should, but that closes out an era of the WWF where they were, like you said, they've been on USA this whole time, and like I said, Raw's been on there for 7.5 years, and they're leaving that home, headed to TNN, and it's going to bring us to next week, and I'm going to go on another rant next week.
Okay.
I want to reveal that. Yeah, I'm going to drop those seeds here, and something just like Michael Cole bothered me with his Calvary quotes all the time. There's something else that bothers me about next week, and I'm covering Raws, and I'm glad because something happens in that first Raw on TNN that grinds my gears, and I cannot stand it, and it's lost in WWF history, and I don't know why. And we'll get to that next week. So I'll just drop that little teaser there for you creatures of the night at home. Tune in next week.
I'm intrigued. I'll remember what you're talking about. All right.
You don't?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, good.
Something to look forward to there, folks. But before we get there, we want to hear from you, Creatures of the Night. What did you think of this matchup, this Fatal 4-Way at Unforgiven 2000? Did the right man win? Was it as good as some of these other Fatal 4-Ways we've covered? Where do you think The Undertaker got his outfit of the night from? Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Talking Taker. It's real simple for you on all those platforms. Please follow us and let us know what you thought of everything. You can also subscribe, of course, to the podcast. If you're listening to this, you enjoy it, go subscribe, whether it's on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever podcasts are found. You can pretty much find us on there. And if you do subscribe, you get it delivered as soon as we put it out there, and you can enjoy it. And we appreciate everybody out there following us. The greatest thing you can do to help us out is to share, retweet, let a friend, someone else, fellow wrestling fan, know about the show. We appreciate all of you out there. We asked for your comments on Twitter for this match. A few of you did respond. The Then Now Whatever podcast at TNW Podcast on Twitter said they loved something. We didn't talk about this, but Rock has a promo talking about Taker riding his bike to the ring because it gives him that funny feeling inside.
Yeah.
Which is a great line. You know, The Rock's full of these great lines here during this time. And then, I love this Twitter handle, at LoveGun13. Carl Grice on Twitter said he remembers that continuing Chris Benoit screwy finish storyline, because as you mentioned, this is the second or third time they've done this, with him having his matches restarted and walking away with the title. I don't know if that really led anywhere, what the deal was, but yeah, that kind of did that a few times with Chris Benoit here in this run.
Yeah, it was just a tease. Vince wanted to tease the fans, the smart marks that wanted him and Jericho to win the title and stuff. So, well, but whatever, it was what it was. So, yeah. And, well, thank you guys for commenting on that. So.
Yeah, and real quick before we do close it out, I do want to say rest in peace to Stan Lee, the Marvel Comics legend, passed away earlier this week, and obviously doesn't have too much to do with wrestling, but we have, of course, compared Undertaker and Kane often to Thor and Loki on here, to Marvel Comics creations, and I know we are both major Marvel fans. You more so than me, but I am a pretty big Marvel fan. I know you're a little bit of an obsessive. We are both deeply appreciative for all of Stan Lee's work, and sad to see him. Sad to see him go.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, when we started this, we talked about how wrestling is kind of like a big comic book. It's a big storyline that never ends. The history is supposed to continue. It's supposed to be lots of continuity. But anyway, rest in peace, Excelsior, Stan Lee. So sad to see him go. So. Thanks for all your creations, and thanks for helping us make the compare and contrast with Thor and Loki. So wouldn't have done it without you.
That's right.
If you guys were there in Philly this night, September 24th of 2000, let us know if you gave that big old Philly cheese pop to The Rock there. Tell us what it was like to see Austin come back to the ring for the first time. Were you as excited about Raven as I was, or not? So. Doesn't seem like Vince McMahon was, but he just wanted to steal him away from ECW. So, anyway, thanks for putting up with the noises in the background of my daughter as I'm giving her a bottle. So, anyway, she might make a few more appearances here on the podcast. So, sorry about that, but it is what it is. We don't get paid to do this. We just do it for the fun. We'd like to get paid. But anyway, if you were there, let us know. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.
How did we get suckered into this match with The Undertaker and The Rock? We gotta think of an excuse this time, and it's gotta be good. What about pneumonia? Mick's a best-selling author. He's not gonna fall for that. What about Tourette syndrome? It's a live show. We can't be trusted. Genital warts. That's disgusting. Yeah, but think about it. Rock and Undertaker aren't gonna want to touch us, and no one's gonna want to look down our pants. We're made. We got it made. You might have something there. Genital warts. Wrong. Yeah. Hey, it's Christian. I just wanted to say good luck in your title defense. Loved you in Highlander Endgames. And by the way, just in case you guys come down with any illness or work problem, I'm going to strip you of your belts and suspend you indefinitely. Got it? And by the way, genital warts do not rule. They can be quite painful and embarrassing. At least that's what I've been told. Have a nice day. Sucks.